welcome to our very exciting live BBC Teach lesson in partnership with Tes. My name's Katie, and today we're looking at ways that we can calm our nerves, develop a positive mindset and take care of ourselves. So this is a really special lesson today, and we're so glad that you could join us live from your classrooms. This is happening live right now as you see it, and lots of people in different classrooms across the UK are watching, so it's very exciting. Thank you for joining us. Now, we all experience different feelings at different times of our lives, and some of these can be really positive, good feelings that we really enjoy, and some of them are not so nice and we don't really like having them, but we have to have all of those different emotions and they're all really valid. So we're going to explore some of these feelings and how we can use some special techniques to help us to manage them. And we have got a very special guest here with us today to help us out. She's going to be giving us some helpful tips on how we can help ourselves feel better, happier and more positive, because she is an expert in this sort of thing. Please welcome Dr. Hazel Harrison.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm very pleased to be here.
I imagine everybody is applauding you in their classrooms. We can't tell if you are, but we hope that you are.
Thank you.
It's so good that you're here today, Dr. Hazel, because you are an expert. You're a clinical psychologist, so you know all about how our brains work. So tell us a little bit about why we feel different feelings at different times.
Absolutely. So our brains are really complex. In fact, we've got something like 100 billion brain cells in here, and they're controlling what's going on in our body. So helping to keep our heart rate regular, helping to keep our breathing going. But our brain also controls our emotions as well and sends signals to our body about how to behave. So maybe you're feeling really excited, you might notice that you sort of want to jump up and down. Maybe if you're feeling a little bit sad, you might notice that you sort of just want to stay in one place and perhaps, you know, even cry a little. And that's okay.
Yeah, so all of those things that we do, like laugh and cry, that's because of something in our brains. I personally find our brains really fascinating because they're so complicated, aren't they? But we are hopefully going to find them a little bit more easy to understand today, because we're going to be learning all about the brain and also about how we can make ourselves feel better when we're experiencing some of those more difficult feelings. So if you're watching along with us in your classrooms, we want to hear from you as well. Some of you have already been in touch to let us know that you're going to be watching. So look, you can see lots of schools' names appearing below now, and perhaps yours is there. How exciting. Throughout this lesson, we're going to be asking you to take part in activities, and we want to know how you're doing in your classrooms. You can show off a little bit to us. And we also want to find out how you and your friends take time to take care of yourselves at school or at home. So you can send us your ideas, and you might see them on the screen before the end of the lesson. So teachers, if you want to get involved at any point today in the lesson, just email teach.bbc@bbc.co.uk, or you can tweet us at @BBC_teach and use the hashtag BBC Teach Lesson. And remember that if you're sending in pictures of children, you have to confirm in the email that you are the teacher of the children featured and that you have consent from the parents. So Dr. Hazel, a key part of us understanding and managing our feelings is knowing what the feeling we're having in the first place is, but it can be quite difficult to recognise what we're feeling, can't it?
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes it can be really obvious. Maybe you're playing with your friends, you're having a great time, and so you know that feeling is kind of like happiness. But sometimes our feelings can be much more complicated. Maybe we feel a few at the same time. So what we know is it can be really helpful to start to give our feelings some labels, so that we're happy or sad or angry or frustrated or curious. And when we start to give this label to how we're feeling, it helps us to understand it a little bit more.
Okay, great. So now we are going to do our first task of the lesson. So for this, you're going to need your activity sheets. We want you to try and identify how you're feeling at this very moment. And we're going to give you 20 seconds to think about it and circle the picture on your activity sheet that best shows how you're feeling right now. And remember, it's okay to feel more than one feeling at a time. So if you are feeling more than one, circle more than one. And if you don't think that any of the emotions on the sheet apply to you, there's a space for you to write down your own. And remember, throughout the lesson today, you don't have to share what you write down with your classmates or your teacher or us, but you can if you want. Okay, you ready to circle the emotion that best describes how you feel right now? You've got 20 seconds. Off you go. Lovely trees. Time's up. It's quite a difficult task, that, isn't it? Because sometimes we can feel something, but we can't quite put a word to it.
Absolutely. Sometimes it can be really difficult to describe what we're feeling. And there can be different ways that maybe we can explore this. Some people find it can be useful to draw or to do some artwork, to do some writing. And all of these things can maybe help us make sense of our feelings a little bit more.
That's really cool. I know that lots of writers who I've interviewed before in the past have said that they like to write down their emotions because it helps them feel really good. But also, it often ends in them writing a best-selling novel or a really great poem. And on that note, we're going to take a look at this video from poet Joseph Coelho. He's telling us how he uses poetry to express his emotions. Have a look.
Poetry can be a wonderful way to express your emotions. When you are angry, you can write an angry poem. When you're happy, you can write a happy poem. When I've had sad times, I've written sad poems, and it has really helped. Sometimes I read a poem and it makes me feel a certain way. It might make me laugh, or it might make me angry. The sea levels are rising, the plastic's piling high, the ice caps are melting, and we're all wondering why. I get angry when I think about climate change and pollution. Writing those emotions down in a poem can help. And when someone else reads it, they might feel what I feel and maybe change their behaviour. Sometimes I like to express my emotions by imagining they were people. What would they wear? How would they move? How would they speak? Sadness slumps down the street in an anorak of pouring rain, sloshing through crowds who can't see him, blubbering words that no one will hear. By turning emotions into people, we personify the emotions by describing them as if they were human beings. It can be a lot of fun, but sometimes I like to just write exactly how I feel. The day I finished the race, I felt incredible. My face ached from grinning, my legs felt sloshy from running. When I got my medal, I yelped with joy and felt like I could swallow the sun.
Amazing poetry from Joseph there, and really great as well to hear about how it helps him to write things down or maybe read poetry to help him feel a certain way. Okay, it's time for our second task now. We want you to think about an emotion that you've experienced in the past, which could be a really good one that you really like or one that you don't like so much. And we want you to express it in words or in a picture. So like Joseph said, you can picture emotions by imagining them that they're people. So what would they wear? How would they move? What would they speak like? Or you could simply write down how you were feeling at the time, like you were writing a story or a poem. So you could write a sentence like, I felt so happy and excited that I could jump up and down. Dr. Hazel, have you got any other tips about how we might be able to use art to express our emotions?
Yeah, I mean, if it's hard to know where to start, then a great idea is just to start to jot down what comes into your mind, maybe some little pictures or doodles, just see what happens.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hazel. Okay, well remember, we want to hear from you today, but you don't have to share your ideas with us, your teacher or your class if you don't really want to. But if you would like to, then just tell your teacher, and teachers, you can send all of your ideas in to teach.bbc@bbc.co.uk or pop them on social media and use the hashtag BBC Teach Lesson. We're going to be looking at some of your ideas and creations later on in the show. Okay, is everybody ready to write something that expresses an emotion that they felt in the past or draw something? We're going to give you 60 seconds to use art to express that particular emotion. Off you go. Okay, time is up, but don't groan at me, don't complain, because if you didn't manage to finish your writing or your picture, you can finish it later on after the show, it's okay. Dr. Hazel, pictures and words are really good ways of expressing your emotions, but they're not the only ways, are they?
No, absolutely. There are lots of different ways we can express our emotions, maybe through music, maybe through making things. It's really important to find what works for you, and maybe what works for you won't work for someone else.
Yeah, so I personally find that writing things down really helps for me, sort of keeping a diary or writing a list or a plan or maybe a story. What about you?
Yeah, I love writing things down. I also love playing the guitar as a way to maybe express my feelings sometimes.
Dr. Hazel, she's not just any old doctor, you know, she's a cool doctor. She plays the guitar. Okay, you've been sending in your pictures and ideas of how you've been engaging with your well-being, so we're going to have a look at some that schools around the country have been sending in right now. Let's have a little look at what you've sent to us. This is Conderat Primary School in Cumbernauld, I think that is. They say these are our self-care clouds. They suggest what we can do to take care of ourselves when we feel a bit grey. What a lovely idea.
I love that idea.
They're pretty, aren't they? Really nice. The Grange Primary School in London have said this: we often listen to calm music in class. Sometimes we just close our eyes and relax for a few minutes. Within school, we have a listening service for children with extra worries. We've even received a letter from the royal family thanking us for our work. Wowzers, that's incredible.
Brilliant, brilliant.
And Oakley House School in Swansea say we had a Be Well Day where parents were invited to school to take part in yoga, craft activities and mindset meditation sessions. I bet the parents love that.
I love this idea of getting the parents involved with well-being as well.
Yeah, that's really great. I hope that afterwards they went home and took some of that stuff home with them. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sending those in. Before the show, we asked some other children how they express their feelings, and this is what they said. Have a watch.
When I feel excited, I jump around all over the place.
When I feel happy, I'd run around like crazy.
When I get something wrong, I try again till I get it. When I'm nervous, I shake my feet.
When something is hard, I believe in myself.
When I feel nervous, I clear my mind and focus.
When I feel happy, I smile.
When I feel excited, I jump up and down.
When I get something wrong, I persevere and try again.
That is such wise advice, isn't it? Persevering and trying again. That's a really good thing to do, isn't it, Dr. Hazel? But it can be sometimes really difficult to try again at something we feel like we failed at.
Absolutely, and it's really normal to feel maybe upset or frustrated when things don't work the first few times that we try. But it's also really important to keep going, and we can improve the more we practice.
Okay, well, I think we could all do with learning how to do that a little bit better. So let's have a look at this film now to see how students Misha and Lucas challenge their own thinking and motivated themselves to try again and give maths another go.
Oh, I hate maths. That's because you're rubbish at it. Get ready to crash and burn, Lucas. Oh, you can't do this. It's too hard. Oh. You can see the answers. Go on, copy them. I wasn't looking.
Yes, you were. I used to copy when I thought I was no good at maths.
Hey, that's not... Yeah, okay. I was copying, but I'm rubbish at maths. Always have been, always will be.
If you believe that, you'll stay rubbish, like forever. Look, at my last school, they taught me to stop thinking I couldn't do it and start thinking I could do it. Change your mindset, they said.
That's dumb. How can you change how you think?
You choose to. If you believe you'll never be any good at maths, that means you have a fixed mindset. So you don't even try. But you can choose to have a growth mindset instead.
What's a growth mindset?
It's when you believe you can get better at maths and you have a go.
Oh, what's the point? It's way too hard. You can't do this. Stop! I can do this. Don't panic. Find a way through. Yes! You did it! Get in! Phew.
Look, Miss has put the answers on the board.
I got 5 out of 10.
That's awesome.
That's 5 more than I thought I'd get.
Did you change your mindset?
I guess I did. I never thought I could get better at maths, but I can. How did you do?
I got 8.
Nice one. Maybe I can get 8 next time, if I keep working at it.
Now, I definitely could have done with that in school because, like Lucas, maths was not my strong point. Dr. Hazel, can you explain what a growth mindset is exactly? I mean, we heard about it there with Lucas and Misha, but how can we use it more and how is it different from us having a fixed mindset?
Absolutely. So when we have a fixed mindset, and we can have both, by the way, depending on what we're doing. So when we have a fixed mindset, we tend to believe that our skills or our abilities are limited. So maybe if you played football for the first time and you had a fixed mindset, if you kicked the ball and it wasn't like Harry Kane, you might feel a bit like, you know, it's just not worth playing football anymore. But if you have a growth mindset, then you believe your skills and abilities can be improved. So if you kicked the football for the first time and it wasn't like Harry Kane, you might try again. But it's not just sport that we have a growth mindset for. We can build our growth mindset for cooking, reading, maths. And another really great tip, Katie, is to add the word yet to the things that we can't do. So I can't do a cartwheel yet. What about you, Katie?
Oh, I am not a world famous pop star yet. But who knows, if I keep trying, I
Keep
could
working
be...
towards it. Maybe you'll make some small steps
I
forward.
might be able to be in Little Mix one day, who knows? I could be able to, I just need to use that word yet, don't I? Okay, we're going to look at how we can develop a growth mindset in our third task for today. So you'll see on your activity sheets that we've got 3 scenarios for you. In the first scenario, we have Max. Now, all of Max's friends have been swimming for years. There he is with his swimming stuff, but he feels left out because he's only just started learning to swim and he can't join in with all their games. That's made him want to give up swimming altogether because he's afraid that his friends are going to make fun of him. So what advice would you give to somebody like Max? In the second scenario, we have Ariana Grande, like the pop star I want to be. And despite being a great pop star, she's doing a test and finding some of the work really difficult. And she says she feels like she's letting her parents down. So what advice would you give to Ariana in that situation? And in our third scenario, we have Henry. Now, Henry here is learning to ride a bicycle, but he remembers falling off and hurting himself previously. So he's worried that he's never going to be able to do it. What advice would you give to Henry? We want you to choose just one of these scenarios and think of the advice that you would give to that person if they were your friend or somebody you knew. You can do this on your own or with a small group or even as a whole class, but we're only going to give you 60 seconds to do this. So remember, you're choosing one scenario out of the 3 and thinking of the advice that you would give to that person if they came to you asking for help. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. We hope you've thought about some really good advice to give to Max, Ariana or Henry. If you want to share it with us, then teachers just send in your pupil suggestions and advice to teach.bbc@bbc.co.uk, or you can get on social media and use the hashtag BBC Teach Lesson. We're going to be looking at some of your ideas with Dr. Hazel a little bit later on. Now, coming up next, we're looking at some advice on how you can take care of yourself better. But first, let's hear what some other students say they do for a bit of rest and relaxation.
I take care of myself by going on a jog every Sunday.
When I feel sad, I meditate so I can keep calm.
I relax by listening to music.
When I'm nervous, I talk to a friend because it makes me calm.
When I relax, I draw comic book characters and stuff.
When I'm angry, I'd read my book to calm down.
When I am happy, I like to play with my cat.
I keep calm by reading a book.
To cheer myself up, I go out to the park and play football.
Those are some really good ideas of how to relax. I think I like to relax best by maybe reading a book or going for a swim. That makes me feel really relaxed.
Yeah, physical activity can actually be a great way to help us to relax.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the next section is all about taking care of ourselves physically, mentally and emotionally. And Dr. Hazel, why is it so important for us to look after our mind as well as our body when we're practicing day-to-day self-care?
So it's really important because it enables us to live happy, healthy lives. And when we take care of ourselves, we're perhaps more able to take care of others as well. And sometimes when we talk about self-care, we can actually use this word well-being, which is really about our ability to live, happy, healthy lives in our minds and in our bodies. So our levels of well-being can go up and down, and we can demonstrate it here with this jug, Katie.
I thought you were just going to tell me I need to have my 8 glasses of water a day.
Well, that's also a very good way to take care of your well-being. So if we imagine that this jug is our well-being, so there are things that we do that will drain our well-being, like maybe not getting enough sleep, arguing with our friends, maybe really getting very worked up about things that are happening at school, and that can really have an impact on our well-being. But the good news, Katie, is that there's also things we can do to top up our well-being. So spending time with friends and family, eating well, getting enough sleep, getting outside, getting some fresh air, also doing things that we really love and we really enjoy, and actually laughing is a great way to take care of our well-being.
Hope nobody needs the toilet now. That's fantastic. So basically we just need to make sure we're doing less of the things that make us feel a bit rubbish, more of the things that make us feel really good, and then we can keep our well-being nice and topped up.
Absolutely.
I like that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Well, there you go. Well, Dr. Hazel gave us some really good ways of taking care of ourselves there, perhaps things we can do outside of school. But what can you do when you're in school to make sure you're having the happiest, healthiest day you possibly can? Well, we talked to school play therapist Shahana Knight to find out.
Hi, I'm Shahana, and I work with schools all over the country, helping children just like you with their well-being. Lots of people are talking about how they can be more mindful now, but what does that actually mean? Well, to be mindful is to be aware of your thoughts and to be calm enough to start to listen to those thoughts and take control over them. The best way to practice mindfulness is to be calm and still, so to do something that really does just keep you in the present moment and allows you to not focus on anything else around you. So most of us have done some colouring before, maybe at school or at home. And actually, colouring isn't just for children, it's for adults too. Colouring is a really great way to help calm your mind and just take some time and just really control your body and your breathing. Sometimes we can feel quite overwhelmed, so maybe we get lots of negative thoughts. And it's really important for you to realise that you're in control of your thoughts, and actually you can decide what you think. A really great way to change negative thoughts into positive thoughts is through affirmation.
I am special.
An affirmation is a positive statement or phrase that you say to yourself, either in your head or out loud. And this affirmation is something that makes you feel really good about yourself. A really great way to do an affirmation is also to stand in a really powerful pose. So if you're going to say to yourself, I am strong, if you stand in a really strong, powerful position, that helps connect your thoughts and your feelings with your body, and it makes you feel just as powerful as you're telling yourself you are.
I am strong. I control my own destiny.
So there are so many different ways that you can take care of your mind and your well-being. Some schools do Tai Chi, some schools have pets, and stroking those pets really help calm the children down. Some schools do yoga. I hope after listening to some of the things that we've taught you today, you can find a way that helps you to calm down and really take control of your own mind and your own thoughts.
Thank you so much, Shahana. I know what you're all going to be doing now. You're all going to be asking your teachers if you can have a cat or a dog in the classroom, aren't you? Because we've told you it's good for your well-being. That's what Shahana said. Well, those are just some of the ways you can help take care of your bodies and your minds in school. And right now we're going to have another look at one of those methods that we can do practically anywhere. Isn't that right, Dr. Hazel?
Absolutely. So we're going to look at mindfulness, which is something they were mentioning there with Shahana. But mindfulness is quite a difficult thing to explain. So instead of explaining it, we're just going to have a go. But it's not necessarily for everyone. So if it makes you feel uncomfortable at any time, then that's okay. And you may need to try it a few times to see how it feels for you.
We're going to do something really special right now that I'm very excited about, and I hope you'll be excited to be a part of it too. We're going to ask all of you watching in your classrooms all around the UK to get involved in our mass mindfulness exercise together, and we're going to take a minute out of our day to practice this mindfulness technique as a whole group across the UK. Isn't that great? It's called finger breathing. So Dr. Hazel, tell us what we have to do.
Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is just focus on the flow and rhythm of our breath. And some young people find it's really helpful to use this when they're maybe feeling sad, or they want to feel calm, or they just need a quiet space. So first of all, let's all just get ready. We don't need to change anything. Let's just put our hands maybe on our laps or on the table. What we're just going to start to do is notice our breath. So you don't need to change how you're breathing in any way. Just start to bring your attention to your breath. And you might notice that the air is moving in and out through your nostrils. So just pay attention to that for a little minute.
Am I okay to have my eyes closed?
You can have your eyes closed or open, whatever feels comfortable for you. And what you might notice is that your mind starts to want to wander and think about all sorts of exciting things that maybe you're going to do after school today. That's okay, just notice that that's happening and bring your attention back to your breath again. So now we've tuned into our breath, what we're now going to do is just take one hand so it's facing us. And we're going to start to match our breath with our finger like this. So I'm not changing my breathing, but as I'm breathing in, I'm taking my finger up and tracing down as I breathe out. Up and breathing out, coming down. And we're just going to all have a go at doing this together. And when you get to the end of your finger and round your thumb, you might decide to just bring your finger back and start again.
Okay, well I think we've all got the hang of that. So now we're going to do our mass mindfulness exercise all together. We're going to take 60 seconds, 1 minute to do this. And remember, as Dr. Hazel said, this isn't for everybody. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to take part. You can just sit quietly while we all have a go. Okay, teachers, we would love to see pictures of your class doing this exercise if they are getting involved. So send your pictures to teach.bbc@bbc.co.uk or use the hashtag on social media, BBC Teach Lesson. And remember to confirm that you are the teacher of the children featured and that you have parental consent. Okay, is everybody ready for our mass mindfulness moment?
Get your hands ready.
Get your hand in front of you and let's take 60 seconds to focus on that breathing up and down. Off we go. Well, there you go. That was our mass mindfulness exercise.
How did you find it, Katie?
I feel so relaxed, I'm almost asleep. But like you said, my mind did wander onto different things, to be honest. I was thinking about what I'm going to have for my tea tonight. I was thinking about that TV show that I love at the moment.
Absolutely, and that's really normal. That's what happens in our brains. We know our mind wants to wander and think about other things, and that's okay. So maybe try it a few times and bring that growth mindset to it so that we can keep practicing it and maybe find out if it's going to be something that's helpful for us.
Fabulous. Well, I hope you all really enjoyed it and you feel really relaxed now like I do. And I've just been thinking about some times in my life when I could use this technique. Perhaps if you're feeling a bit angry or cross about something, so maybe somebody at school has annoyed you or somebody at home and you feel a bit frustrated about something, or perhaps you're about to go into a test or you're about to do a sporting day where you're really nervous. Perhaps you could use it then, do you think?
Absolutely, and those are great examples of times when we can use it. But what we also know about mindfulness is it's really helpful to practice at other times too, so that when we really need the tool, we know a bit more about how to use it.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. Thank you for participating in our huge mass mindfulness exercise. We're so pleased that we were able to do that. And we hope that taking that very short time to focus on yourself helps you to feel a little bit calmer. Now, throughout the lesson, you've been in touch with your ideas and examples about how you take care of your well-being. So let's have a look at some of the suggestions that you've sent in now. We've got this one here from Thornton Prep School in Buckinghamshire, this lovely picture there. What a lovely sunny day and a lovely green background. These children from Year 5 have mindfulness aids to promote well-being, a singing bowl, volcano lamp and expandable ball. I'm very much intrigued about how these things work. How do you use that expandable ball for mindfulness?
So the expandable ball is brilliant because you can get it to mirror what's happening with your breath. So as you breathe in, you can expand the ball, and as you breathe out, you can bring the ball back in again. And it's also just really fun to play with.
Yeah, they're really fun, and I always see those, but I don't really know what you could use them for.
There you go. Now you know.
If you have one of those in your school, you can use it for mindfulness. That's brilliant. Wistaston Church Lane Academy and crew say, one of our class rules is think positive, be positive, which is about having a healthy mindset and believing in the power of yet. That's what we talked about earlier.
We did.
So when they say, I can't do this, the rest of their class will add yet to the end of the sentence for them, encouraging them to have another go. That's so nice.
I love that idea of all the classmates encouraging each other.
I know, isn't that lovely? And Kitwell Primary School in Birmingham say, we work hard on our well-being at Kitwell through yoga, meditation stories and mindfulness. We even had a mindfulness festival run by Year 6 where we had lots of different mindfulness activities that help us to look after ourselves.
Oh, well done Year 6. I bet they learnt loads from that day.
Definitely. That's fantastic, isn't it? All of Year 6 could go on to be Dr. Hazel's one day with those mindfulness skills.
Absolutely, yeah.
Those are really great examples, and it's great to hear that you're taking care of yourself and you're already doing such fantastic things like that. You've also been sending in your work that you've been doing throughout the lesson today. We asked you to send in your drawings or writings about your emotions that you've experienced in the past, and we also asked you to send in your advice for Max, Ariana or Henry in our 3 scenarios. So let's have a look at what you've sent in, shall we? This is from Pempole School in Hazel, and this is a fantastic picture of somebody feeling an emotion. It says, I felt so excited because it was my birthday. I jumped up and down. Of course, birthdays are so exciting.
Yes. Great picture.
That's fabulous, yeah. And we've got this one here. This is from Trowell C.of.E. Primary School in Nottingham. And this is advice for Ariana, and they say, keep persevering and remember sometimes it's okay to get things wrong.
Oh, well done, what great advice.
Isn't that brilliant? I knew that you'd be so fantastic at giving advice, but sometimes we don't give that advice to ourselves, do we? We're really
it's
good.
really important that we're kind to ourselves as well as our friends.
Yeah, we're good at giving it to other people like Ariana, but we need to give it to ourselves. Thank you so much to everybody who has sent their ideas in today. I'm afraid it's all we've got time for. We couldn't possibly show everything that you've sent in, but check out our live commentary page to see if your ideas have turned up there. And thank you so much, Dr. Hazel, for today.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
You've been absolutely brilliant. And remember that if you want to find out more about mindfulness or about your well-being, there are lots of different places where you can get information on other ways to help you out. So have a look at our BBC Teach website for some helpful links. And we hope that all you've learned today about recognising and expressing your feelings, developing a growth mindset and practising self-care helps your well-being in the days to come. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.